I moved into Lakeshore Ridge for one reason: peace. Quiet mornings, clean water, and a small private pool tucked behind a line of hedges at the far end of the property. It wasn't flashy, but it was calm, and more importantly, it wasn't run by the HOA. That detail mattered more than I realized. The pool had existed long before the HOA formed. Years ago, the developer built it as a private amenity tied to a handful of original lots. Over time, most homeowners assumed it was community-owned. Nobody ever questioned it, until Karen did. Karen lived 3 houses down and acted like the HOA badge came with a crown. Clipboard in hand, reflective sunglasses on her head, she patrolled the neighborhood like she was paid for it. Parking violations, trash cans, lawn height, nothing escaped her attention. So when I showed up at the pool one Saturday morning and calmly locked the gate behind me, I knew it wouldn't go unnoticed. She appeared within minutes. "Excuse me," she snapped. That pool is for residents. You can't just lock people out." I told her politely that the pool was private and that I had every right to control access. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, honey," she said. "I'm on the HOA committee. I know the rules." I explained again. Calmly, slowly, she cut me off. "If you don't open that gate right now," she warned, "I'm calling the police." That was the moment I realized this wasn't about the pool. It was about control. "Go ahead," I said. "I'll call them." Her eyes narrowed, like she hadn't expected compliance. Still, she pulled out her phone, turned on speaker, and loudly reported that a non-compliant resident was denying community access to shared facilities. Within 20 minutes, a patrol car rolled up. Karen crossed her arms, smug as ever. She explained everything to the officer, embellishing where she could, claiming I was aggressive, uncooperative, possibly trespassing. The officer turned to me and asked one simple question. "You have documentation that this pool is privately owned?" "Yes," I said. "In my house. I'll grab it." Karen scoffed. "You don't need paperwork. Everyone knows that's an HOA pool." I walked away without responding. Inside my home, I opened a folder I'd prepared the day I moved in. Not because I expected trouble, but because experience had taught me people like Karen always overestimate their authority. I returned with copies of the original land deed, the pool maintenance contract, utility bills, and a clause from the HE charter that very clearly excluded the pool from HOA ownership. The officer read quietly. Karen's face began to change. "This doesn't make sense," she said. "The HOA has always managed it." The officer looked up. "Ma'am, management doesn't equal ownership." He turned to her. "According to these documents, this pool is privately owned and access is at the owner's discretion." Karen opened her mouth, closed it, then tried again. "Oh, well, fine, but the AOA still has the right to—" No, they don't," the officer said. She wasn't done yet. "You can't just lock everyone out," she shouted. People have been using that pool for years." I finally spoke again. "And that," I said calmly, "is going to be addressed." Karen looked at me like she'd just realized the game wasn't over. She had no idea what I had waited. The next HOA meeting was packed. Word had spread fast. The pool, the police, Karen's failed power move. Everyone wanted answers. Karen sat front and center, rigid and red-faced. That HOA board looked nervous. I sat quietly in the back with a folder on my lap. When open comments began, Karen stood up immediately. "This situation is unacceptable," she declared. "One homeowner cannot control a shared amenity." I raised my hand. The room went silent. I walked to the front and placed my folder on the table. "I agree," I said. "Which is why I'm here to clarify something." I handed copies of the documents to each board member. "This pool is not a shared amenity. It never was." Murmurs rippled through the room. I continued. "For years, the HOA has used, advertised, and collected dues for a pool it does not own. That's a liability issue, an insurance issue, and potentially a legal one." The board president swallowed hard. Karen stood up again. "This is ridiculous. Everyone uses that pool." "Oh, yes," I said, "without permission." "Without a lease, without a maintenance agreement." I paused. "And starting today, that stops." Gasps filled the room. I explained my decision clearly and calmly. The pool would no longer be accessible to HOA residents. Any future access would require a formal agreement. Past unauthorized use would not be retroactively penalized, but it would be documented. Karen exploded. "We're punishing the entire community because of one misunderstanding?" I looked directly at her. No, I said. I'm enforcing my rights because you called the cops instead of asking a question. The board tried to negotiate reduced access, scheduled hours, shared liability. Well, I listened, then declined. I offered cooperation when I moved in. I said, I was ignored. Now I'm offering compliance with the law. Within a week, the pool gates were rekeyed. New signage went up. Private property, no unauthorized access. Karen filed a complaint. It went nowhere. The HOA lawyer confirmed everything. In fact, they advised the HOA to stop mentioning the pool entirely to avoid further exposure. Summer came. Temperatures rose. The pool stayed closed. Karen stopped making eye contact with me. Her clipboard disappeared. All enforcement dropped noticeably. Turns out when someone finally pushes back instead of fear, the whole system recalibrates. I still swim every morning, alone, quiet, exactly how I wanted it.